Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for my client Lewis's vlog, and we didn't get max effort footage, and it's not because he didn't send it. It's because when I went to rip footage for my vlog, I could not get the software to pull it up. It's Messenger acting up a little bit. So again, the vlog is going to be a hair short. It's not going to be quite as long as the normal ones. So we started his max effort upper off with a back squat. Of course, then we go into all the normal stuff for Lewis, which is good mornings, single leg exercises, ab work. Right? Those are our staples. That is what we work off of. That's what's gotten him up to 4+ plate deadlift and all those things. Keeping in mind he is still cutting. It's one of those cases to where again he was a skinny hard gainer, bulked, got sick, had surgery, had to quit. Lost weight, we bulked him back up, and he was unhappy with the amount of fat he was gaining, even though we gained muscle and strength. So he decided he wants to do a cut, and as his coach, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because at the end of the day, especially if you've got a younger client, they've got to be happy with how they look. And there comes a point where, again, you can only bulk so fast. And I think people forget that. And I've had clients who, again, younger guys, will do this oftentimes, who way overbulk even faster than he did. And then they get upset that they get fat, and you have to tell them, look, when we bulk, we have a certain amount of weight we're willing to gain per month, and we have to look at ratios of fat to muscle. That we get to a certain point where you can literally be gaining fat at 10 times the rate that you're gaining muscle. If you overdo it. This is why we pace these things. This is why, we set schedules. His case, he bulked maybe a hair too fast. He's not even close to the what I've seen as worst cases by any means. Right? By any means. I literally had a client who, disregarded my advice once and gained 5 pounds every month. And I noticed he was getting a little fluffy, but he didn't tell me how much weight he was gaining because I didn't ask. I'd given him numbers, and he said he was on schedule, but he was getting fluffy real quick. He did that for like 4 months. And I think he gained like 30 pounds in 4 months. And he wasn't lean. That's the thing. He wasn't lean already. And these things happen, right? These things happen. And then when it happens, they get upset. And it's usually, they're like, well, I just thought if I bulked faster, I'd get faster gain. I'm like, yeah, you will gain slightly more, but you're going to gain a lot of fat. And if you can't live with that, then don't do it. And the thing is, people who think they're going to make all lean gains, well, it can be done, but it's going to be slower, and you're not going to have wiggle room in your diet. In other words, most people are not going to want to do that because it usually involves things like eating like almost zero dietary fat. And for some of these hard gainers like Lewis, that's a problem. What I mean by a hard gainer, I mean that he, really struggled initially with gaining, right? Struggled with appetite. And, so we've got some pointers to get around that. So what we've decided, though, this time, he's going to cut. He's going to get a bit leaner still. He's not where he wants to be. Then we're going to bulk a little leaner and slower this next time. But all of that being said, I am letting him do a little bit of arm work in here. And these things take time. For him, he's one of those, he's dealt with a number of issues. He's dealt with a number of setbacks. He's had to deal with illness and everything else. So it's been a real fight gaining muscle and strength. It has been just absurdly hard for this young man. And when he first hired me, he was struggling to make any progress at all. And again, here's the thing, though. He's over here doing the work. He's overcoming these things that life has thrown at him. He's definitely had some speed bumps in the road. But here's the thing. You got to commend him because he's been putting in the work week after week, knowing he has to eating the food, getting it all in. Even now, he's sticking to his cut at the rate that I've talked to him about, instead of saying, hey, I want to cut a lot faster. No, he's realizing he's got to cut fairly slow. Otherwise, he's going to lose the muscle that we have gained already. Right? So he's going about it intelligently. He knows that he's had some major setbacks, unfortunately. And we've talked about a little bit of that in this. We haven't talked about all of it because some of it's not people's business. But, such as the wrist injury. So when he came back to me, he had pins and stuff in his wrist from a broken wrist. And so we train around these things, though, right? We train around these things. We make it work. We know that there's some movements that really aggravated it, but we've kind of found what he can do. And I think the lesson there, you get people who get injuries, they have surgeries, they have pins, they have scar tissue, whatever, of what can I do? It's like, you can find a way. You can find a way. I mean, we have with him, right? We have to work around these things. You can find movements that you can still do. You can build the tissue around those areas. You can strengthen it, right? But you're going to have to be consistent. And here he is, being consistent. All right. So this pretty much finishes up the footage that we have for this week. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.